Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Vapid Vandora. I hope you guys are feeling good and having an amazing year already. So guys, today we'll be checking out a change of heart towards Jordan, emotional response to raw honesty. Like wow, that's really catching. Let's check it out, guys.
Because I'd had an experience in relation to you years before where I had made a firm decision that I would never in my life listen to anything this man has to say. Based on a 3-minute clip, mind you.
Do you remember what it was that I said that was so profoundly irritating? I mean,
there's many.
Can you tell me what that was?
Of course. You were talking about the gender pay gap. And this was part of a longer interview, the interview that you had with Kathy Newman. And this was a clip, 3-minute clip. You were talking about the gender pay gap, and you were saying that, paraphrasing here, but that the reason for most women is because most women are agreeable, most women don't negotiate, etc., etc. I believe that was essentially giving people options as to why it could be that there's this thing that exists or doesn't exist. And I didn't even finish the clip. I didn't even finish the 3-minute clip. But based on the things that another out of context clip that I had seen before, and the way that I'd heard your name being spoken of before in the context of the trans conversation that was happening around that time, 2018. Right, exactly. Again, I was watching this clip, and it's almost like I wasn't even listening to what you were saying. I had already decided that I don't like this man because someone that I trust has told me that I shouldn't like him. So therefore, the decision is made. Why do I even have to finish that video?
Right, of course.
And it was just, right? Mm-hmm. And it was just normal.
Well, we use heuristics like that all the time, and yes. It's easy to get caught up in them because, well, you can't listen to everyone. Yeah. And so you kind of have to make a snap judgment about almost everyone. And the default is you don't listen because there's like 7 billion people. So obviously you're not listening to most of them. So you don't need much of an excuse. And it's really easy for that to get, and I mean, it's not like I haven't experienced that. Like, on my podcast, I invite people on. Abigail Schreier, for example, she wrote, I don't remember the name of her most recent book, but it's a investigation into the downside of the rush to make everything gender fluid, essentially. And I was terrified when I had her on. I mean, I was in rather ill health at irreversible damage. Yeah.
That's the one.
I want to have Andy Ngo on my podcast, but that also makes me nervous too. And, because he's tarred with the fascist brush and then it's guilt by association. And that might have been part of what you were feeling. So so you think, well, you need a simplifying heuristic, and part of that is, well, that most people aren't worth listening to, and he's definitely not worth listening to, and then that can so easily become politicized. And once it is, especially when the political has become religious, it's really hard to overcome that.
Yeah,
and so
it really is.
A lot of the things that the radical left are pointing out are in some sense universal human failings. And so they have that truth about them. I mean, because we could ask ourselves, given the implicit tendency for human beings to have a pronounced in-group preference and the potential we have for violence against out-group members, how do we all address our proclivity to damn the foreigner? Okay, that's a really important question.
I feel like I've got a good answer.
Okay, let me add the one end to that. And then the next thing is, well, we all have these proclivities. How are they exacerbated by power and privilege? Right? Those are good questions. But as soon as we make it instantly racist, well, then we can't even ask the damn questions properly anymore. So, Mick, sorry.
My joke is over now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stomped all over your timely joke.
You stomped all over my tiny little joke. I was thinking about that question earlier, though. If everyone has these tendencies, which they certainly do, I've noticed that if I have a guest on my podcast, and I think my audience is fairly open-minded, but then I'll have a guest on and they'll hate them. And they'll be like, well, you can't just even if you don't agree with them, maybe they are wrong, but like you can't just cancel people because they don't agree with you because you're doing exactly the same thing that the people you're complaining about.
Well, you know, and also maybe your stupid opinions aren't right. They're probably not right. And like, are you so sure your life is going so much the way you want it to go, and you're such a bloody paragon of virtue, and the light is shining out every orifice, that everything you think and say is correct, and everyone who disabuses you of your notions is evil? You're really so sure of that, are you? So, you know, you wander around and you think, God, maybe I should listen to this person because I'm such an ignorant bastard and I'm so full of malevolence, and maybe they'll drop one thing on me that won't make me like miserable and doomed to hell and to drag everyone else there too. That's, yeah, well.
You know, I felt something similar when I finally leaned into listening to you properly, because what was interesting, even after that moment in 2018, watching that 3-minute clip, deciding this man is evil, I want nothing to do with him ever again. And of course, I didn't think I would ever have anything to do with him.
Yeah, look what happened. Ha
ha.
Infiltrated. Yeah.
Right? People especially people that were not really connected to the digital world, a lot of older men in my life, for example, and women in my life would always tell me to read your book. It's honestly, people would always say to me, Africa, you will really love this book. I would have friends of mine send me lectures. I think you're really going to like this. And I would just completely ignore it. And in my mind, I'd be thinking, what am I going to find? What am I supposed to like? Because again, I have this idea of you built up in my head. So I'm finding it very confusing that people that know me very well are telling me that there's something that I'm going to like, right?
Yeah, what the hell? Very
confusing. But again, for years, what the hell? For years, I ignored it. So when I started watching your lectures late 2019 and last summer as well, in the beginning, I could notice myself listening to you and waiting for a moment where I could say, aha, see?
Right.
I knew I was right. And you know what? I waited. That moment never came. That moment never came.
That comes for me right? all the time.
Really. And that again, so it's like there wasn't one moment of being awake and then it's done. So many little, tiny, seemingly insignificant moments where I'm just sitting here by my sofa, just watching and listening, observing myself, waiting, for that confirmation that I'm right. And then it never coming. And then I have to deal with that. And then so again, my curiosity, I finally allowed myself to be curious again. And now, Jordan, I can say you have been one of the most influential people to me for so many reasons I couldn't even mention right now. But to be able to have the conversations that I do now publicly, you have, and I could have never imagined this ever in my entire life. Things like this don't just happen. And the fact that I can tell you this.
Oh no.
Thank you. Just thank you. Thank you.
You got him.
It's a pleasure. It's a rough pleasure, but
I know.
You knew what happened to me with Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
That was something. It's really something to see yourself portrayed. I got accused of being a Nazi pretty much when all this happened. It was really something because I had been teaching students what we're talking about today, about these temptations that you faced and how people, as individuals, get sucked into that totalitarian hell, and then, so that was something for that to happen, such a reversal, and then to have that comic book come out, well, it was surreal. It was absolutely surreal to be portrayed, because Nazi wasn't enough, right? We had to go right for the archetype itself. So I think we've raised about $400,000 for charity now on the basis of that. So that was a fun reversal. But it was really shocking when I first saw that. I just couldn't believe it. I was very ill at the time too. And I thought, this can't be real. This has to be Photoshop. This cannot possibly be happening. It's so completely beyond comprehension. And, you know, to come from the pen of one of the foremost Black intellectuals. And I use the racial category only because that's the categories that he's using to operate within.
Yeah.
You know? So
life is really weird.
This is true.
Right.
This is true. As this whole conversation illustrates.
Wow. Tell me, what's your intake on this?
I just want Jordan Peterson to just understand that he actually has people that actually look out for him, like, you know, takes his word personal. Like, most times when I react to Jordan Peterson, like, I always pick up one or two because I realize he's a very, very, very smart man, and I think he's a professor in a school too. So I just felt that this girl was just, like, you know, pouring her heart out of how she feel for him. And honestly speaking, like, it really got me when he was actually crying, like a whole Jordan Peterson crying. I'm not saying he's not human to cry, but I mean, he has, like, I
With
feel
the name
he knows,
he gave himself.
I feel he knows much about psychology and the rest. So things like this are not really supposed to move him down much. But I mean, she still got the baby part of him. Let me just put it that way. He's very, very influential, like she said, very, very influential. And I feel that he's one of the people I've come across in the web that I'm like, okay, this guy is really intelligent and he knows what he's doing. You understand? That's what I just feel about Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, let me just say what she said. Like, not everything though. He's very, 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 very intelligent. Like, and he's smart. Like, just when you react to his video, you'll be like, this man, like, you know, at some point, I actually understand how she felt. Like, I understood how she felt, but that part when he actually teared up, like, I lost it though.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, is he really, really doing this right now? Like, come on, man. Okay, guys, we'll come to the end of today's reaction. Let me know what you feel in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Alright? We'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.